knife away. Put that knife away.
Step out!
When questions arise over use of force, we often turn to body camera videos like these for answers. I've covered plenty of cases of police-involved shootings in my career, including talk force was unjustified in their sons' deaths. While it's important to have these conversations and to examine those cases, it's also important to show what police are trying to do to limit their use of force. One example I found is a technique that's being practiced by Kansas City police officers in an attempt to help them remain calm when adrenaline is in the driver's seat.
All right, flashlights on. Everybody's moving, cover left. Watch for your threat.
For these KCPD officers, this is more than just a drill. Not only is it a test they have to pass to stay current on their certification, it's also a chance to practice staying calm when adrenaline floods their bodies, speeding up the heart rate and triggering a fight or flight response.
And a 23-year-old man pulled alongside us and fired 4 times into our patrol vehicle at Blue Parkway in Kensington.
Thankfully, both sergeants were okay. Rather than panicking, he recalls they stayed calm and followed the suspect, eventually taking him into custody. Sergeant Christopher Toigo credits that, in part, to focusing on their breathing.
We believe that if you breathe and you make sure that that fight or flight response in your brain is not turned on, that you perform better.
However, as the supervisor in charge of firearms training, Sergeant Ward Smith points out, this is more than just the type of breathing most of us do without a second thought. Instead, it's a very specific technique referred to as diaphragmatic breathing.
Kind of exhale, get all the air out of you, and then when we start, I want you to breathe in until the point where it starts to become uncomfortable, and I want you to concentrate on your stomach. If your stomach kind of balloons out, don't worry about it. That means you're doing it right.
So we have a whole 3-point difference between the groups.
To prove it's effective, KCPD has partnered with the Clinical Psychology Department at Kansas City University to study its effects. They've taken participants and divided them into 2 groups, one that practices breathing techniques and one that doesn't. Then they undergo shooting exercises like this, and afterward, these doctoral students study the results.
Our data has not been peer-reviewed yet, so I just want to make sure that that's clear. But so far we have seen that the breathing group is shooting more accurately than the non-breathing group, which is the original study. That's what we wanted to see.
Preliminary data shows for every 10 officers who failed their test in the non-breathing group, only 1 failed in the breathing group. So why is something as simple as proper breathing so effective? The KCU research team says it has to do with the difference between the more shallow chest breathing per breath Sergeant Smith described using our diaphragm.
So when we start chest breathing in high stress situations, that's when we start to get tunnel vision, our blood pressure increases, and that's when we can make bad decisions that we aren't rationally thinking like we normally would. So when we're breathing through our diaphragm, it's a deeper, slower breath, and we tend to think more rationally.
It's something Detective Christina Ludwig says she's noticed.
It would probably be by the 3rd breath. I could finally feel my muscles relaxing and focusing and being able to zero in on what I was going to focus on my target.
She and fellow officers agree these are skills that help in class as well as out in the real world.
And I think it also plays out into use of force scenarios too. You know, when we do the combat breathing and we take it seriously, we're less likely to, you know, use force on somebody that may be in distress, and it allows us an opportunity to de-escalate the situation.
Take a big deep breath in, let it out.
And that's what both Sergeant Smith and the KCU team say this is really all about, keeping others and themselves safe.
And coming out of the last 3 years where we've had this bad or adversarial relationship sometimes, we want to show people that we do care, we are caring, we want to do this correctly, and we don't want to make mistakes.
Our mission at Kansas City University is to improve the well-being of the communities that we serve, and our police officers are part of our community. And so being able to enhance their training and maybe create a more safe environment for them and for those in the community was really important to us.
KCU hopes to publish their results in a medical journal sometime in the coming spring, and they hope other police departments throughout the country will take notice and start teaching this technique.